Hey, what's up everyone? It is voleN here again, um, with some Path of Exile content, something new I'm going to try to be doing. Very similar to what Slippery Jim's been doing with his burial farms in previous videos. I'm going to try and make sure that none of my videos overlap what Slippery Jim has done, and maybe give you guys some newer and insightful content, and if they do overlap with Slippery Jim, I do apologize. I'm really not trying to steal his thunder. I just love data mining, and I like doing lots of maps and things and see what all you can get. So this video is going to cover the 100 arcade maps that I ran over the course of the past 2 days, give or take a bit. Probably took me about 5 hours, but I'm also clearing slightly slow. I'm not as efficient as I could be, and I was taking time to uh, write some of the stuff down for specific map things into a little sticky note on my desktop so that I could clear the tab out every now and then, because I am poor and only have a certain amount of stash tabs to use for this. But I did make sure everything was written down, and I actually have the sticky note right next to me. Um, so first things first is we are using a magic find character. Um, if we look under our defense, we've got mediocre resistances, um, a good amount of evasion, and our move speed bonfire is 58% with no flasks. If we pop all of our flasks at the same time, so like that, we go up to 179% move speed, as well as 73% chance to evade attacks. On top of that, we are using Bisco's Leash, which gives us Rampage. Every 10 Rampage kills we get 1% move speed, so most of the time, once you're about halfway through the map, you're moving at about 200% move speed, which is great. Under our miscellaneous, you'll see that we have 71% increased quantity of rarity or quantity, so 71% IIQ, and we have negative 14% IIR or increased rarity of items. Rarity is not a big factor. You can stack rarity if you're trying to get a lot of uniques, like for rings, for a lore weave or anything, but in general, quantity is almost always going to beat out rarity in all circumstances, because quantity is what affects the currency drops, divination card drops, and anything else. Rarity only affects whether the item that drops is going to be a normal, magic, rare, or unique item. So keep that in mind. Charges is miscellaneous. As for our gear, we are using a 5-link Wind Ripper. The rolls are okay, but the rolls really don't matter too much. It's just that 15% increased quant when you slay frozen enemies. We're also using a Devoto's Devotion. This is for the 20% increased move speed and the Chaos Res, as well as the huge increase of evasion and attack speed. We're using two Venter's Gambles. Both of these are 10% quant, so that's 20% quant just from the rings. They both have reduced rarity on them, I believe. Yes, they do. And the reses are leave some to be desired, but they are both 10% increased quant, which is what I wanted. I'm also running a 10% increased quant Shaper Amulet, which I think I picked up for 2.7 EXALTS in Incursion Standard, so it wasn't too bad. As for our quiver, we're using Hiri's Demise, which I double corrupted to have 0.5% of fire and 0.5% of cold damage leached his life. You definitely feel this when you're mapping, especially when our life pool is only 3k. Definitely a very useful corruption to get, and once I get my Rigwald's Quill, I will definitely be selling this, so keep an eye out for it if you're interested in it, or you can send me an in-game whisper and I'll let you know when I'm going to be selling it. Our gloves, we're using Sadima's Touch, 16% increased quant. This is a max roll. Actually, I had this drop for myself, so I didn't buy it, but I'm not sure how much they cost. I'm sure they don't cost very much. We're using a Bisco's Leash, as I stated earlier. This is an extra 5% increased quant, as well as Rampage. The rarity on it is, like I said, doesn't really matter too much, but it does help occasionally for those unique drops. We're also using a max roll for quant on a Goldworm. And we got pretty high fire res on them as well. I think I picked this up for like 60C or something. I'm not quite sure how much I picked it up for, but that 20% increased quant is hugely, tremendously helpful. And for our chest, we're using a 5-link Queen of the Forest with mid rolls on it, I believe. Yeah, everything's fairly mid. We got a high life roll and a mid-tier evasion rating roll. But it is a 5-link. And for skills, we're using Lightning Arrow, which is in our Queen of the Forest, Lightning Arrow with greater multiple projectiles, faster attacks, added cold, and LA damage with attacks. And then with our Wind Ripper, we have Barrage with increased crit, LE focus, added cold, and elemental damage with attacks. We're also using a Curse on Hit with Onslaught, Assassin's Mark, Herald of Ice. So if Herald of Ice gets a kill, we get Onslaught, and anytime Herald of Ice hits anything, we also get Assassin's Mark on them, which allows us to leech life and mana back. And then in our boots, we're running Ice Golem, Grace, Enlighten, and Portal. The Enlighten is so that our Grace takes up less mana reservation. We run Grace because it gives evasion, which helps our Queen of the Forest give us more move speed. As for the flask, I'm using a Diamond Flask with increased evasion on it, a Quicksilver Flask with almost a max Adrenaline roll on it, a Jade Flask with more increased evasion on it, and a Stibnite Flask with, again, increased evasion on it. Our Life Flask is a Staunching Flask, which doesn't really matter, but it is a good quality of life, and it is also a Chemist. So that's everything for the MF character. We're going to talk about why we chose Arcade for this video. We chose Arcade because Arcade maps drop the Saints Treasure Divination card. You get 10 of them, you get 2 Exalts. It's fairly good. They drop somewhat frequently. They definitely drop more than a Doctor does, which is biggest reason why I wanted to farm them, because I had farmed over 300 burials without a Doctor. But doing this, we got, in the 100 Arcade maps that we did manage to get 3 Saints Treasure cards. 2 of those came from one map actually, and something else exciting dropped that day as well. We also got 2 Divine Vessels, and we're going to go into the loot. So this is all of the loot that we got, notwithstanding the uniques. All of the useless uniques were vendored, and we sold a Reckless Defense Jewel for 10 Chaos, and we sold a Rumi's Concoction Granite Flask for 3 Chaos, and that is included in this number over here. So this is everything that we got. We got 1 Exalted Orb, 34 Chaos, 6 Blessed Orbs, 343 Transmutes, 71 Alchemies, 109 Alterations, 19 Alt Shards, which comes from vendoring, 7 Alch Shards, which again comes from the vendoring, 75 Chance Orbs, 32 Silver Coins, 99 Chromatic Orbs, 180 Blacksmith Whetstones. Armor Scraps aren't in my filter, so I did not pick any of them up, but the number would probably be about the same. I would assume maybe a little bit higher. We did get 52 Fusings, 63 Cartographer Chisels. This is actually pretty good in my opinion. And we got a literal fuck ton of jewelers. We got 527 of them. I was picking up any jeweler recipe, which is just a 6-socket item, and I was vendoring them whenever I could, because I like to change my jewelers into fusings and either sell or use the fusings. We also got 22 Scours and 22 Val Orbs, 5 Apprentice Sextants. These are honestly pretty rare drops. It feels like I mean, 5 out of 100 maps seems really low to me, but it is what it is, I suppose. We got 11 Regret Orbs, 5 Regals, 14 Glassblower Baubles, and 8 Gem Cutter Prisms. Every time I saw an Essence, I would pop it and make sure we got it. I'm not going to list all these out for you because that extend the length of this video by amounts that we don't need to extend it by. We also got a full set of Assassin's Favor, almost another full set. We got 2 of the Puzzle, 3 full sets of the Gambler, as well as 3 extra. 1, 2, 3. We got a lot of sets of the Mask, which is a Sacrifice Fragment, as well as half of another. We got two-thirds of a Gem Cutter card, or of the Gem Cutter set. We got 1 Dreamland, 1 Doppelganger, and 2 of the Poet. Some of these cards came from, I believe, something. I don't remember exactly. It wasn't a Diviners because there'd be more here, but I believe they dropped off of like Strongboxes and things of that nature, because every time we saw a Strongbox, we were popping that as well. And we also got the 3 Saints Treasure, as I said. 2 of these came out of one map, which was honestly insane. I wish somebody would have clipped it from stream, but nobody did, sadly. I can go back and clip it later. But we did get 2 out of the same map, which was awesome. In terms of how we sustained our arcades, we've got 33 in here right now. You do something known as shaping your atlas. So arcade is down here. It's a T3 map. So it's right here. So on your atlas, you would undo all of your T3 maps. So that would be, you know, cells, excavation, ley line, burials, springs, etc., etc. And then you're going to Shaper Orb the courthouse map so that it can no longer drop from arcade. And so the only 2 maps that you're really going to get off of arcade is going to be alleyways and arcade. More often than not, you're going to end up getting the arcade map because as long as you have this number high right here, you're almost always going to be getting arcade. Uh, I think out of the 100 maps that I ran, I probably got like 150 to 200 arcade maps back, give or take a bit. So it was definitely insane for the map sustain. Now do keep in mind that shipping your atlas for any map, especially if you go up higher, is going to be expensive. Each unshaping orb, I believe, is some chisels and a scout. I don't remember the exact recipes. And then to get your Shaper Orb back if you didn't use it is also expensive. I think it's 20 chisels and 5 regrets. So you're talking like 10C for that alone. Um, so now we've covered the loot, we've covered how to sustain, we've covered all of that. Honestly, would I do this again? I think I would. The loot was fairly good. Like I said, we got the one Exalt there. That's about 70, 75C, depending on what the price is right now, on top of the 34 Raw C and the 3 Saints Treasures card. So it was a fairly good run. I'm definitely satisfied with what happened and how we did. And if you guys would like to ever see me do any more of these, there will definitely be more coming. I'm not sure exactly what map I'm going to do next. I think I'm going to look at some that have some good diff cards, and I'll shape my atlas for that then. But if you guys ever want to catch me doing them live, I am live on Twitch at twitch.tv/VOIEN. The link will be in the description below. So definitely check that out. Shoot me a follow. Um, it'll tell you when I go live, and you guys can catch up on what map I'm farming and how it's going. And as for that, I would like to thank everyone for watching today. Like I said, this took about 5 hours to do in-game, as well as however long it takes me to finish editing this video. Um, Honestly, I had a lot of fun doing it. It was definitely fun and enjoyable to do, and I would probably going to be doing a lot more of these. So make sure that if you haven't already, you hit that subscribe button for more videos like this one, and hit that like button if you enjoyed what you saw, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.